The afternoon my neighbor Alice asked me for a life-changing favor stands out as one of the most exhilarating days of my life. It was a warm, quiet day, and I was settled on my porch with a glass of iced tea, the condensation dripping onto the table. Across the lawn, I noticed Alice tending her garden, her posture unusually tense. Her shoulders were hunched, her movements lacking the ease she typically found in her plants. We weren't close, but as neighbors of 3 years, we shared a friendly rapport, waving, chatting about the weather, or occasionally helping each other with small tasks like fixing a gutter or moving furniture. That was the extent of it until that moment. Alice stood abruptly, brushing dirt off her hands, her gaze drifting toward my house. She hesitated, then crossed the lawn with slow, deliberate steps. "Hey, Riley," she called, her voice cutting through the stillness. "Got a minute?" I set my glass down, sensing this wasn't a casual visit, and gestured to the empty chair beside me. What's up?" She sat heavily, her elbows on her knees, staring out at the street. Up close, she looked different, tired, vulnerable, not the confident woman I knew. "I need your help," she said, her voice low, eyes fixed on the horizon. The words caught me off guard. Alice didn't seem like someone who needed help, especially from me. "Of course," I said, leaning forward. "What do you need?" she sighed, running a hand through her hair. "It's complicated and personal. I need someone I can trust." The weight of her words hung between us, heavy with unspoken meaning. I could feel her tension, the kind that came from holding something in too long. "You can trust me," I said steadily. "I'll do what I can." For the first time, she turned to look at me, her dark eyes searching for reassurance. "Do you have time to talk now?" she asked. I nodded. "Take your time. I'm all ears." She sat silently for a moment, her jaw working as she gathered her thoughts. I didn't push. Some things needed space. Finally, she leaned back, exhaling deeply. "Okay," she said, almost to herself. "Let me start from the beginning." Her voice was measured as she spoke about her demanding job, the stress seeping into her personal life, and her sister Laura, who'd been struggling since her divorce. Laura's 2 boys were caught in the aftermath, and Alice worried about them. "They're at an age where this stuff sticks with you," she said, her voice quieter now. I nodded. "Kids are resilient, but they need stability." Her eyes lit up with agreement. "Exactly. And I think they could use someone steady, someone who knows how to navigate tough situations." She paused, glancing at me. "I was wondering if you'd talk to Laura. You're good at listening without judgment. I think she needs that." The request surprised me. I'd expected something practical, not this personal ask. But her trust in me felt significant. "I'd be happy to," I said firmly. Relief softened her features, and she smiled, a small, genuine curve of her lips. "Thank you, Riley. I can't tell you how much this means." We shifted to lighter topics, but the weight of her favor lingered. As she left, the sun dipping below the horizon, I felt this was the start of something bigger. The next morning, Alice's request still echoed in my mind. Her vulnerability had struck a chord, making it impossible to say no. By mid-afternoon, I was back on the porch, sipping lemonade, lost in thought about her and Laura. Footsteps pulled me back, and there was Alice, her expression a mix of hesitation and resolve. "I talked to Laura," she said, sitting beside me. "She's open to meeting you. Tomorrow afternoon work?" I nodded, and she promised to send details, her gratitude clear as she left. The next day, I stood outside a small coffee shop, scanning for Laura. Alice had described her as petite with dark hair and a kind smile. I spotted her at a corner table, her hands wrapped around a coffee cup, staring out the window. "Lord?" I asked, approaching with a smile. She stood, her expression guarded but polite. "You must be Riley," she said, shaking my hand. We sat, and an awkward silence settled before I spoke. "Alice mentioned you've been going through a tough time. I'm here to listen, no judgment." Laura relaxed slightly, sighing. It's been a lot, the divorce, keeping things stable for the boys, figuring out what's next. I nodded. You're carrying a lot, but you don't have to alone. Her walls began to crumble as she opened up about her struggles, her boys, and her fears of not being enough. For an hour, I listened, offering encouragement when needed. By the end, she looked lighter, her smile reaching her eyes. Thank you, she said. I didn't realize how much I needed this. As I left, I felt a quiet sense of accomplishment, eager to share the moment with Alice. That evening, Alice stopped by, her eyes bright with hope. How'd it go? She asked. Really well, I said, stepping aside to let her in. Laura's stronger than she thinks. Relief washed over her, and she exhaled deeply. I knew she'd open up to you. Her gaze lingered, carrying an unspoken weight. I felt a shift, a connection deepening beyond neighborly kindness. She lingered in the doorway, hesitant. You've done so much, she said softly. I don't want to take more of your time. I brushed it off. You're welcome here anytime. She followed me to the kitchen, and as I handed her a glass of water, our fingers brushed, sending a jolt through me. Her eyes met mine, and she hesitated before asking, Why did you say yes to helping Laura? I thought for a moment. Because you asked, and I could see how much it meant to you. She studied me, her expression softening. You're a good woman, Riley. You make people feel seen. The air grew heavy, and I felt my cheeks warm under her gaze. She laughed lightly, breaking the tension, and left soon after, but the moment lingered. Over the next few days, Alice was never far from my thoughts. I replayed our conversations, her glances, searching for meaning. One evening, she appeared on my porch, looking unsure. I needed to get out of the house. Mind if I join you? We settled on the couch, talking easily, but an undercurrent of tension simmered. She leaned back, sighing. I've been thinking about what you said, about not doing everything alone. I prompted her gently, and she admitted, it's hard letting someone in, showing the parts that aren't perfect. You don't have to be perfect, I said. Sometimes the best connections come from the messy parts. Her eyes softened and she nodded. I'm here if you're ready to try. The words carried weight, and her small smile felt like a promise. We talked late into the night, a quiet understanding settling between us. The next afternoon, Alice appeared in my yard, her smile tentative. I owe you a proper thank you for helping Laura. Let me cook you dinner tonight. I agreed, and that evening I stood outside her door, a bottle of wine in hand, nerves buzzing. She greeted me warmly, the table set with care, the aroma of garlic and herbs filling the air. Over dinner, she opened up about her childhood, dreams and regrets, her vulnerability drawing me closer. I thought I had everything figured out, she said, swirling her wine. But lately, it feels like I'm still figuring out who I am. That's not a bad thing, I said. Sometimes the journey matters more. Her gaze held mine, and the air shifted. Riley, she said, her voice low. I've been holding back, afraid to let anyone close. But with you, it feels different. My heart pounded. Different how? She smiled softly, like I can be myself. I reached for her hand. You don't have to hide with me. I'm not going anywhere. After dinner, we moved to the couch, our conversation deepening. At one point, she paused, her gaze drifting to the moonlight outside. You've made me realize it's okay to want more, she said. I leaned closer. You deserve that. She met my eyes and slowly, we leaned in, our lips meeting in a soft, tentative kiss that quickly deepened. When we pulled apart, I smiled. That felt right. She agreed, her smile radiant. As we curled up on the couch, her hand in mine, a quiet intimacy enveloped us. The night felt infinite, a moment where time seemed to pause. I didn't think this would happen, she murmured. Neither did I admitted. But it feels meant to be. Her thumb brushed my hand and she nodded. I want this, with you. In the days that followed, our connection grew, each moment peeling back layers of hesitation. One evening, as we watched the sunset on her porch, she turned to me. "I've always thought happiness was something you earned, but maybe it's just about letting it happen." I squeezed her hand. "That's exactly what it is." As we navigated her doubts together, our bond deepened, a quiet promise of something extraordinary unfolding, one neither of us had expected, but both of us needed.